I mean, we're all like huge egos, but at the same time, we're also
Right.
not. Yeah, like everybody's got a huge ego, but at the same time, we all recognize that it's fucking stupid. We're just here clowning and like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why.
this is honestly like the best WoW community that I've ever been a part of. Like
Oh, hands
through
down.
my like 15 years, 17 years playing this game, like
Yeah.
without a doubt, without a
I mean,
doubt.
granted, I came from Classic WoW, which is notoriously
Very similar
toxic.
to very similar
Well,
to what we have presently, but yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I don't know. Like Classic, it was just so much more. Like I don't want to say degenerate,
it is. Yeah,
but
no,
like
that's a good way to put it.
literally the only word I can think of, and I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, well, tryharding is degenerate. That's not what I mean.
No,
But it's just like everyone is just so like selfishly out for themselves, and it's just, I don't know.
yeah,
It just
yeah,
Koa just feels radically different,
hmm
right? Like every single one of us on the server didn't know a single person logging on here, right? No one came in here. I mean, yeah, some people came in here with like a friend or two,
yeah,
or brought in a friend later, but most of us came in here solo,
yep,
and we were able to make like this pretty fucking cool community.
yeah.
And the fact that the game is still going is just shows how good the community is because the game's, not been updated very much in the past week because Liquid's been moving. But the fact that it's still going is
I would say
amazing to
even
me.
beyond that is just like an alpha with as little content as it
Yep.
has. I mean, it's an alpha, right? Like, I understand, but a lot of
Right.
us play the game like normally,
Yep.
um, and there's not a lot of content for people who play the game normally. Which I think is
That
like
is
a
true.
huge, which is just to goes along to what you're saying is that it's um, a huge testament to a what's already here, and
Sure.
b the community at large. Like I don't like if I was playing this game solo, and I had like no knowledge of anybody else, and I didn't have any friends in this game. I don't. I mean, I would probably play it, but I would probably not play it nearly as much as I do.
Right.
A lot of the reason why you even log on every day, or a lot of the reason why you don't log off, is because like you're sitting around like chatting with friends, just hanging out, man. Like that's how you
Yeah,
hang
it's
out with
like,
the
oh, the
boys.
homies are on. We're doing some
Yeah,
Twin Peaks. So it's like, yeah, I want to go to bed. But, if there's 10 of us on doing games,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
might as well get the games in.
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah. No, it's a really great community here. I mean, a lot of memes. You got to have a thick skin, but at the end of the day, we all very much have
Well,
each other's backs. We're all
not
homies.
to cut you off, but like, I have a very thin skin. Like,
Wait,
I
actually
would,
though.
I actually, unironically do, and I am like one of the main punching bags of Koa, and
Oh,
I need
Goodmood,
to
no.
be that because I need that because otherwise, then when one person's mean to me one time, like I'm the kind of person that like if you're mean to me, I block you on every way I know you, BattleNet, Discord,
Oh my
everything in
god.
game, because I just like I hate you, right? Because I'm one of those people.
Well,
I'm
who
just
wants
one
to
of
be
those
friends with
people.
somebody who's mean to them? Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, exactly. And it's like, hey, if you're gonna be a dick to me, then I don't need you in my life, and I'll just block you everywhere. I
100%.
have I
I'm with
have
you.
ghosted people since high school. Right.
Yep.
Anytime someone's just slightly mean to me, you just cut them out and you go, okay, my life's better without you. Boop. And it was
100%.
like,
Yep.
were they having a bad day and they're actually good for me? Maybe so, but I make permanent decisions very quickly. So whatever. Um, but that's why I say all that to say that I don't think you need to have a thick skin to be in here. Yes, if you're going to make yourself a target and you're going to hop on the Discord and you're going to talk with people and you're going to have
Any Clarkers in the
opinions
chat?
that are very outlandish. What was that?
Any Clarkers in the chat?
Right, basically. But if you're going to go out and put yourself out there and you're going to go and say, hey, I'm going to argue against people when it comes to my opinion because I think my opinion's right and I want to have discussions, then yeah, you probably need to have a thicker skin for stuff like that. Um, but what's so cool is like since the community is really, really new, is you can just make whatever you want it to be. Right? It's not like there's like these like predetermined cliques. So like here's the PvEers, here's the PvPers. We're all just dumbasses.
Yeah.
Right? We're all just sitting around. And if you want to find people, like there's a guild that's just cultist players. And like I thought that would die immediately, and it just won't. It's still around. Like you think it's one of those things that like someone joins on an alt and then never actually plays. But they're like, it's got a few people
Yeah.
that, play. And it's just like you can just make the community whatever you want it to be.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I think that's honestly really cool because there's so many people that like want to try this out, right? I'll go into Ascension streamers all the time and I just go play Koa, you coward. And they're just like, what? Why? And then, but most of the time they say, oh, I want to play it. It's just that there's not enough content right now.
Ah,
And
see,
so,
yeah,
right, exactly. So once we get it, right, then those communities can start to flourish, right? Once we get, honestly, it's just 60. I think 60 will
I
be
think
enough
60
for
will
people.
be like the biggest difference. Just having 60 unlocked will be a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even just like it doesn't even need to be raids, right? It just needs to be 60. That's PvP, that's
Right.
dungeon farming, that's bis farming, that's your entire kit's unlocked. You can try out, as many possibilities as you'll ever be able to try out. That's the final stretch, right?
Yeah. Well, and also just like a lot of fucking classes just don't still aren't quote complete until you hit your capstone. Like you need a specific
Yeah.
capstone in order to be able to do anything or unlock a certain play style, which
Which I think is a design flaw, if we're being honest.
I'm gonna
right?
be honest. I don't think you need to wait to 60 to try out something to play.
Right,
Like, why do I
exactly.
need to
You
wait until
shouldn't
60
be
to decide that this spec is not good? I don't like it, and I've
exactly.
leveled all the way to fucking 60 at this point. Like
Right,
that's
you should be able to say by 36, okay, I don't like this style, I'm good,
Right,
and not
yeah.
say, oh well, I can't give it a fair shot for 24 more levels, and then okay, now I hate it after I wasted another day of my life.
right, exactly. Yeah. But going back to what you were talking about in terms of just like people and population, yeah, I think it's absolutely just the current content patch right now, as well as the price tag. Man, I don't
Yeah.
understand why they want to charge people so much fucking money to play this game. Like
Yeah,
why?
I mean,
like
if
why?
you think about it, like just to play devil's advocate, right? Because obviously I am team, yo, let's get more people in here.
Yeah.
But to play devil's advocate, right? I mean, it's an expensive project. Dutch told me this, so I doubt this is like highly classified information. I don't
Okay.
have, me and him are not close like that, right? He just said.
I mean, you could have just said you were, and I'd have believed you.
We're definitely not.
Yo, me and
If there's
Dutch
one-
are the boys.
Right,
we
if,
the
if
homies.
I am two things, I am fat and I am bad at lying. So, in that order, I'm fat comes first. But he was saying that 60 is going to be a huge overtaking. It's going to have a lot of people on board. Like it's going to. He didn't say any actual.
In terms of the team, or just like what?
Yes, the
Okay,
team
gotcha.
is going to be like a whole bunch of people. In his words, let me pull up the little chat that he has. There's him just screaming at me. He said it's exponential work to get to the 60 bracket, and we'll have to get a lot more hands on deck for 60 to make it slam. And that's the first time I've ever heard someone say to make it slam. So
Yeah, that is a
that's-
new one, man.
right? I was
That is a
like,
new one.
oh, that's just like a thing now.
It must be
So I have
weird.
to start.
I don't even know if it's Dutch.
Maybe it's
Dutch
one of those
NA.
like business owner like mannerisms, right? You and I,
we're too peasant to understand. Yeah,
we're too
peasant.
wage gap. But yeah, so if they have to employ, 4 full-time people to be doing this, right? Like 2 people dedicated just to bugs, 1 person dedicated to, I guess helping players, like some GM type stuff, and then Liquid, and then like all of that, I can understand because these are actual jobs. These are not volunteers. These are not
Yeah.
people just doing this when they're bored, right? These are jobs. Like, does Ascension have an HR department? I'm pretty sure it does, right? Like
I
a
don't
private
know. I
server
really
with
don't
an
even
HR
know.
department.
Doesn't
I mean,
actually? That'd be wild.
I honestly, I think someone told me they did, and I'm naive, so I just believed them. But
I,
like,
I can't imagine that Ascension is
right?
a HR
It's like, yeah,
department,
man. I'm working in human resources for an illegal private server for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's like if they're going to be having a bunch of people and you have to employ 4 people full time for this, right? Then maybe you're taking players or you're taking GMs from other parts of your operation. So you have to employ new entire people, and that could be expensive. I could see that. That being said, right, there's a reason that games like League of Legends make so much more money than games like Heroes of New Earth, because Heroes of New Earth had a price tag to get into it. So
Yeah.
people are like, okay, I don't know if I'll enjoy it. But when
Yeah.
you join League, then you're like, oh, it's free. Okay, I hate this because there's too many anime girls. But if you're weird and that's your thing, then all of a sudden you are spending, $10 every other day for a new skin, and it
Right.
adds up way faster. Now,
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
that's Ascension's mindset, right? That's why they have
It's a
the
smart
tools they
business
have.
model. I mean, yeah, it's a smart business model.
Incredibly smart. And as someone for me that doesn't like cash shops, it's just bad enough that I don't want to quit, right? Like, it's not like, okay, you're not getting a massive advantage. Yes, you save time because you level faster, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, if I'm better than you at the game, I'll still be better than you, right? Regardless of how many wings you have or how many backpacks you have equipped, like, you'll still suck.
Yeah.
Assuming that you suck before the wings, but I digress.
I think
yeah,
if you
I
wear
think-
wings, you just automatically suck.
Right, well, unequipped wings.
That's just bad
nice.
mog. It's just bad mog, bro. I don't know what to tell
Dude,
you.
I spent like 120 gold on wings, and I was like, "This is it." I quit them, and I was like, "I just wasted 120 gold." I was like, "Damn it!" I was so excited. I loved wings, and like every game I've ever played, wings look tight as shit. But it just,
I don't know, man. There's some clown shit. I don't know. It just reminds me of like Final Fantasy weeb shit. I don't know, man. Whatever.
Well, I think there's something to be said for the Super Chad credit card swiper mod, where you just have everything in the store loaded at once. That looks cool as shit. That shows, hey, I actually know what a 401k is, and I'm like loaded.
Contributing to it, like.
Right, exactly. It's like I can. Right, I'm actually contributing to my 401k, and I'm just a walking wallet. Like, I'm just so much better at life than you are. You're like, oh, shit, man. Let's just flex it, people. It's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think 50 to get back on track is still way too steep.
Oh, it's way too much. Yeah, I mean, even if it was 20, I'd be like, dude, why, man? You're
Right?
trying
Like
to get
20.
people to come test your shit. Like, why are you charging people? Like, you guys have literal, not figurative, literal, multi-$100 items in your cash shop.
Yep.
Multi-$100 items in
yeah,
your cash
cosmetics.
shop. And there's so many people who have them.
And their pets.
So many people
their
who have them.
pets, God damn it.
Dude, dude, you don't need to be like, this isn't the part where you need to be like grubbing for revenue. Like, I don't know what their finances look like. I don't know what their books look like, but like, I just feel like this is not the hill to die on if you want people to like play your game and like test it properly. And
Actually, on that point, I think that this isn't much of an issue unless this isn't changed going into phase 5, right? If when 60 launches and they're like, hey, it's now 10 DP, right? Get the hell in here. Let's play some Koa. That would be one thing. But if they're still like, hey, no, it's $50, then I'd be like, okay, what the hell's going on? Because it's like, what do you gain at that point? You're not gaining like, oh, well, it's this prestigious community. It's just something that people want to do. And then if they can't afford it because it's $50, right?
yeah.
I was lucky enough that I had my girlfriend's credit card nearby, and I was able to swipe it and be able to play Koa. But, assuming that she, actually put it in her wallet with the padlock that it normally has, then I wouldn't have been able to play Koa, and I just would have never had that $50, right? And it just, I would have never known the community. I never would have met you guys, and I just would have been doing my own thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And a lot of players are deprived of that experience because it's 50, right? That is not a small number.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
And for a game that you don't even know if you'll like it, right? You can play the other game, you can tab over and play Ascension classless for free.
Yeah.
And you've already spent DP there, and you've already, you have communities and friends and whatever. But you're asking someone to spend $50 on the chance that they'll like something. There's tons of people who buy this game and it's not for them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's gotta suck if you if you bought it with gold and you're flush, that's one thing. But that's gotta feel bad if you actually, needed that money, right? Of course.
Well, I mean, I guess yeah. I mean, in that position, obviously, you wouldn't be spending money on video games like that. But
gambling.
I mean, but yeah. No, I absolutely. I just think it's just like way too steep of a price to get people to come in and do you a service. They're doing you a service. This is like literally not it's not free labor. You're getting paid to have labor, which is even better. So I think probably what it is that like
for you
paying to test for you. Yeah. And I think the reason the reason why it's $50 is because people will pay $50.
Yep.
And people will pay $50. Like when this game probably first came out, I bet they were writing that shit for the hype. Oh yeah, man, dude. They're like, oh man, there's this classes thing. Like it's gonna be super cool. Like you gotta get in on it. But it is a really tough project for us. You know, we gotta support it. So you gotta pay for it. People are like, oh dude, I'm gonna pay for that. I'm gonna be a fucking pyromancer, and like I'm gonna summon demons and whatever. Actually, I don't think we have any demons in here other than like Demon Hunter. But anyway.
No. So you can't be a demon, but you can like enslave demons and shit as a cox.
Neat. All right. Well, anyway, but I think they were just it is $50 because that's what they can get away with charging people because they will pay for it.
I don't know if that's the right way to look at it though. I don't know if it's it's 50 because people pay 50. Now granted, it could be that black and white, right? I have owned 0 businesses in my life, and I will die having owned that same amount. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I know what customers are pushing for, or I know how to go with metrics over like product and I'm just throwing out words.
Yeah, you're just saying buzzwords. Yeah, you're just saying buzzwords.
It's literally just buzzwords, right? Like I don't know like how like bad I can make a product but still profit and all this. I don't know what the end game of Ascension is. If it's supposed to like liquidate in 20 minutes and just make as much money as it can right now. But even then, the 50 just seems wrong. It just seems wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Even playing devil's advocate, I keep coming back to that's just like way too much. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm with you on that, man. I agree.
I mean, but again, hopefully they change it with Phase 5, right? Because they know a bunch of players will be looking at that. I don't know if they'd make it free, because again, why would you give out something for free that people are willing to pay for?
Yep.
So obviously I want it to be free.
I think it's even less likely that it becomes free. I think like, oh, here's the complete game. Now you have to pay for it too. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't see them. I don't know. It just seems very like money grubby. Like the only thing that I love Ascension. I think it's a great team. I think they're doing a lot of really cool things here, and I think they're like very, very passionate, and it's very apparent in their work. I also think that they are greedy as fuck. Super fucking greedy, man. Like they're just sitting there rubbing their fucking hands all goddamn day, man.
A bunch of goblins.
Just fucking bunch of goblins rubbing their goddamn hands, dude. There's no reason. I get it's a business. I get it.
Yeah.
Like,
and then when you like actually employ people, I get that.
I don't know, man. It just seems really fucking scummy when you offer like cosmetics for multi-hundreds of dollars and people buy them that you're like, yeah, we can't afford to, make our thing free during an alpha.
Right. And also, I'm pretty sure if you check the announcements, I think it's under that. I remember we were pranking some people in the Discord. People were like, "Oh, is the game free to play on launch?" And we're like, "No, you have to pay per phase." And then like Dutch saw us like messing with people and was like, "Okay, so it'll be free on launch."
Oh my fucking god, dude! Pay per phase. Holy shit!
Oh yeah, and like no one believed it, but like Dutch just wanted to like make sure that no one actually fell for it.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
No, everyone was just throwing out stupid thing. But like it was like, hey, you'll have access from this until launch, and I believe maybe it was Liquid who said it, that it would be free on launch. So it's like, it seems weird to like charge so steep for right now.
Yeah.
But again, obviously we're going in circles, right? It's like,
sure, yeah.
It just doesn't make sense, right?
I think it's more frustrating, especially now with like
exactly.
Ever since League 3 came out, like Kobe was talking about this recently on the Discord, but ever since League 3 came out, the population has not recovered, has not stabilized. I thought it was just going to be like, oh, people are going to play it for a couple of weeks and it'd be fun, but like people are like that. It has been a huge stark drop off actually in terms of like the players.
I don't think it's League 3. I think it's people went to League 3 and then we're like, oh, well, this is just Area 53, which is what I keep calling it because I'm clever and hilarious. And
you're so funny, man.
I'm one of a kind. Literally,
hilarious, yeah.
Lamau. But like, people are like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to Koa. Koa's not doing it either. And then they'll go off and they'll play Elden Ring. They'll play NBA 2K22. They'll play whatever the hell they were going to do or anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just League. I think League was just something to get them away from Koa, and then they're like, yeah, Koa's just, I've done everything I wanted to do in Phase 4. It's been out for a month. I had a great time for a month, but, you know, I'm just waiting for 5, because that's
fair.
the kicker.
That's fair. That's fair. And I could see that happening, too. Yeah. I could see that
Because at
being
least
the
from,
case.
like, in my guild, right, in Champions, I don't see a lot of people, like, everyone was, like, playing League at first, and like, oh my goodness, we're going to raid, we're going to do this. And then just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everyone was just like, PvE is the worst. I don't want to do this anymore. So,
I can't blame them.
I'm all
They're
for
not.
it,
They're
guys.
not wrong. They're not wrong.
I mean, PvE is the worst. This is a proven fact. Everyone knows that. But
Yep.
yeah, hopefully, Dutch, if you're listening, love you. Make Koa free.
Seriously, man. I don't know.
Please,
It's frustrating just having so few people online. You know, like it's peak NA hours, and we
Yeah, and
can't
also,
even
we
scavenge
know-
10 fucking people for a battleground. That's just
Even that,
that's
it
fucking
takes
bad.
people 20 minutes to find an RDF queue. Like, and this is
Yeah.
like levels are scaled. So this is not
Yeah.
it's we don't have a tank for level 27 stockades. We
Yeah.
don't have a tank for 10 to 49 or
Yeah.
15 to 49 rather.
Yeah.
But like that is absurd. Like
Yeah.
tanks are boring as shit. But like what?
Yeah. Well, and then imagine being one of like the new people who come in here thinking that they're just gonna do dungeons or they're gonna enjoy themselves like playing the game normally, and they're PvE Andy, so
ridiculous.
they only do dungeons,
Right.
and like they can't get in, or they wanted to play it with their friends and they can't play with their friends because they can't queue together, and so like they're just sitting
To
in there
be
doing
fair,
this. It's just like
that's been a known bug for a long time.
I
It's
get
not
it, I
like-
get it, but at the same time, like it has been a known bug for a long time, and like I can't imagine people who are into, you know, who are PvP or PvE Andes like are not gonna. I mean, I'd be frustrated. I wouldn't even
Oh
want
yeah,
to play.
you
You
wouldn't
can't even
stick
play
it
the
out.
game.
Of course not.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sticking around.
Yeah, you'd
Which
be like,
means
okay,
that-
well, I can't play with my friends. I'll go
Yeah.
do something else, and I'll either come back to Koa or I'll have fun doing something else, and I'll just never come back to Koa, which are
Yeah.
you know, two very realistic possibilities.
And especially since you guys just dropped like money to play the game. Okay, all right. Anyway, we're gonna keep going in circles.
Really?
Yeah. I guess. So what do we have unlocked for next phase? The raids are not coming out, so it's just gonna be dungeons and level 60 and.
So
is that about it?
hopefully, I mean, we haven't gotten actual confirmation of this, as you know. I don't think anyone has, or sorry, I don't think there's been any official word that we're going to lose the 60 raid gear, right? Because it's Ascension, you can just get raid gear, like
Yes.
farming in high risk and whatever.
Uh-huh.
But there's been rumors that makes sense that like all that would be wiped, because why would you go into a raid with full raid gear? That ruins the entire point of testing. Blah
Yep.
blah blah.
Or just the entire point of raiding, man. Like that's the
Right,
whole reason
you
you're
shouldn't
there.
be
is-
going in. You shouldn't be going into Molten Core with Encourage gear and be like,
Yeah.
"Yep, Fairy Warden's
Yeah.
the best. We're good,
Yep.
baby." Don't need gear, Lamau.
Yep.
But hopefully that happens. But other than like stuff that like unlocks, it's really just like classes complete kits. Blip. Just stuff like that. Being able to like really like actually run dungeons, because like right now, I was looking to farm Fellcloth gloves, and I looked it up, and apparently it drops off of the trash mobs that are spawned by the third boss in Dire Maul North.
Oh yeah, I
And-
mean classic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
of course.
Right,
Uh-huh.
of course,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
'cause
easy.
Everyone knows that. I said it, but you could have said the words before I did. You're like, oh yeah, it's the third boss in Dire Maul North. Yeah, of course. Is this the ads, not just the boss? Duh. Everyone knows that.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
But like you can get there because you die outside the doors and you can do all this, and I can like try to work my way towards the boss, and like
Mhm.
yeah, that's a fun challenge at 50, but yes, I would like to be able to like just get a group at 60 and just run this a few times and hopefully get the pattern right. I don't want to have to mindlessly do this. So I think being 60 unlocks a whole bunch of stuff. It unlocks way more crafting options. It unlocks, you know, just so much more of the map. I'm a little concerned that we'll be able to enter Outland at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. Stuff has been bugged before. It would not surprise me if we could enter
Yeah.
Outland.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking, honestly, that's the play. is the second you hit 51, you just go to outlet and you just try to just abuse as much as you can, get everything you can, because you're gonna eventually lose it.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason for. I mean, you've already said it pretty well. There's absolutely no reason for us to have beyond like entry raid gear. It just
Yeah. So hopefully all that goes away. And now I'm not saying like, oh, any level 60 blue, but again, like, right. In terms of like what else is added, I don't really think there's like much else other than just like, 60 being that massive power spike for everybody, right? And then like you can really do some interesting stuff with talents, right? Because when you're level 40, you can't really go, oh, I'm gonna go half into primal and then half into life, right? You can't really do that. But once you hit 60, then okay, I can go 11 points here, or 11 spells here, and then 3 spells here, right? And you can kind of make something work. Well, hopefully. By the way, I think your mic unplugged again. So, but while you do that, yeah, no, I'm very excited for Phase 5. I mean, obviously, any player that's ever played Koa is always on the copium of, oh no, the next phase, that one is going to be the one that fixes everything. I have definitely said that 13 times. And to be fair, every time there's a new phase, it does fix it. But, hopefully the phase 5 stuff makes it fixed for good. So that way we don't have to worry about, oh, well, are there players for Battlegrounds? Are there players for this? Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's what you mean by that. Oh, okay. Yeah.
What now?
That's what you mean by that? The hopefully XYZ is fixed, as in like player population issues?
Right. Like,
yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I would really hope so.
Because, like what we were saying before, there's so many people that really want to play this game, but don't, because it's like, it's just, I'll wait for it to get fixed, or, it's still the alpha, blah, blah, blah.
Or there's like not enough content out, yeah.
Right, and exactly. And 60 will fix some of that, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, obviously it'll be the best for us because we're PvPers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's something to be said for the PvE aspect. Something I did want to mention, something that is Koa specific, and I figured we could talk about it.
Sure.
How do you think the addition of pulls / grips versus grounding is good for the PvP scene? Do you like it or no?
Ooh, great question. So I remember there was a time there for a while where we were doing, some of our gym class 10v10s, and
I know
games were just being won and lost off of single picks from grips, which is, hey, I mean, it's fine, whatever. That's how the game goes. And it's not like Battlegrounds are the most competitive format, but
okay, how dare you?
Yeah, but I mean, unless they add rated Battlegrounds, that'd be really cool. I'd be about that. But there are a lot of grips in the game. A lot of them have insane range because, for whatever reason, Koa likes to operate on that 40 yards, and there's this weird discrepancy between what is 30 and what is 40, and there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for the difference between the two. But anyway, 40-yard grips are like mad fucking infuriating. Super infuriating.
Especially cultist, right? Because it's instant, right?
God,
it's not
dude.
like, well, I know it's coming, and there's like all of a sudden
yeah.
I'm next to you, I'm silenced, and I'm
can't
slowed.
do it.
And you're like, oh my god, it's infuriating.
There's a bunch of mechanics in this game that are just like super tilting. And I think the grips were one of them. So I think grounding's fine. I think grounding is fine, but I think I think there might be too much grounding, or that the stuff that needs to break grounding doesn't. It's too all-encompassing at this point, I think, because I totally understand where people are coming from. Grounding needs to be a thing. Grounding has to be a thing, because the mobility in this game is a problem. Absolutely is a problem. And I've been saying for like the longest time is that like there's always been this dichotomy in the mobility department of the have-nots the haves and have-nots. And if you're in a have-not, man, you're feeling fucking bad.
Oh yeah.
Feeling fucking bad.
Well, it's
And
just, like,
so
we're
grounding is
also
like a good.
overloaded.
Yeah, because I don't know. There's like some classes that just have no mobility at all whatsoever, and then there's others that are like fucking Yasuo and
Right.
all sorts of other types of crazy mobility, and you're just like, where's this fucking
And they're
coming
still
from?
an
You
entire
have stuff
class.
like
They're just
yeah,
an entire class with mobility, right? It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, well, they have mobility, but they have nothing else.
yeah,
Like, you can make
Right.
that case for Witch Hunter, that it's like the rotation is actual just Play-Doh shit, but
well, not
they
only
can also
yeah,
jump around a bunch.
Yeah.
But, like, classes like Barbarian are a completely fleshed out class that can also just stick to you forever because fuck you.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, that is clearly, you know, an example of something that is too good in terms of, like, that's not what the class is about, right? When you think of a Barbarian, you don't think of, oh, someone who has 100% uptime. Yeah. Like,
I
no.
mean, I guess I don't know. I guess I don't really know what I would expect for like you know, in terms of just like calling out class fantasy and like what I think this should be. And that's probably not
Sure.
even for me to say, I suppose. But I just
Oh, it's
think
for me to say, I'll say it.
yeah, for sure, definitely. But I think you need to have weaknesses if you're gonna have like such good strengths, which is why like a lot of the times like if I rage at Koa, it's because there's stuff that's just like way too powerful that has either not a lot of counterplay or just doesn't give up enough for how strong they are. Like my
Yeah.
case in point is phase 2 Chronomancer. Phase 2 Chronomancer was the most toxic shit I've ever had to deal with in a video game ever.
Yep.
They were just unbelievably good. Unbelievably good at literally whatever they did. Like, it just had, like, damage, healing, just...
They had tons
it,
of
it was just
utility. They had,
tons of
like-
utility. They were just, like, way too good, and they gave up nothing for it. And then, you know, I just, like, that will always be the poster child of, like, what Koa should never be. Like, you should not have anything that's, like, all-encompassing, just good. Unless they're, like... If they're good at everything, they're, like, the Mario of, you know, whatever it is that they're doing, and they're balanced stats, but, like, they're below average, right? So...
Right. The balance stat, like, everything, and it's kind of like med, everything.
Exactly, yeah. Like, it can do everything, but it's not, like, great at everything. Like, you know, kind of, I guess, Druid of Classic, I guess,
Yeah,
you know?
literally
Like,
jack of all trades, master of none.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah. But,
Yeah, I don't think...
I just think that... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say that I think the issue with mobility and grounding is that there's a lot of people who are like very, very strong with the mobility, and there's like a really big dichotomy between the haves and have-nots. And then grounding has been kind of, I don't want to say like clumsily implemented, but it feels really overbearing. It feels very overbearing. It feels like the same amount of unfun in the opposite direction. Like, casters were really upset about like
So
the hypermobility
actually,
of melees and stuff.
I
and
can
then,
speak from the other perspective, right? Because
Okay,
obviously
go ahead.
you're a melee who has the Ursoc slide, which is a root break, right?
Yes,
And it's, what, a
Supposedly.
20-second cooldown? Right,
it's
so in
yeah.
theory.
It's you can talent it, and it can be like 10 seconds.
Okay. For me, it does feel good. That's why I'm trying to get Serpent Bind down to 3, because 5 and grounding is basically a 5-second stun, which is like, and it forces you to cave in, blah, 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 blah. That's matchup dependent. But yeah, I do think stuff like that, I shouldn't have 25% uptime permanently on you not being able to do anything. But I do feel way, like, I feel like there's way more I can do now, right? If a barbarian jumps on me, I can Serpent Bind, and now I can actually survive, rather than I literally have to bring grenades, and I have to make sure I don't dot him first, because I need to get that full 3-second nade, so that way I can get some distance and maybe Serpent Ward away, or Serpent Ward jump away, and just try to run to an ally and have them help me. Right? I feel like there's so much more I can do from the caster's perspective, but I do agree that it feels like there's a bunch of stuff that grounds, and with the power level of us anyway, right? Just adding grounding just makes us like that much scarier. That's why it's so aggressive with stuff like Gavel, which is a whole different conversation. But
Oh
like
man.
these classes are already so overloaded that if you just gave me a 3-second stun out of nowhere, that like this game's fucking over, right? Like
Yeah.
any fight is just completely won because yeah, I have a fully fleshed out kit, and now I have 4.5 seconds of stun over the course of an entire duel. The same kind of thing goes.
I mean, when
for
you're
with
when you're
grounding.
saying it like that, doesn't sound that bad, honestly. 4.5
What do you
seconds
mean,
of stun.
grounding?
Grounding?
A 4.5 seconds of stun. Yeah, what the fuck?
4.5
When games
seconds
are
of stun
over
is like
10?
eh. Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Well, because it's not like retail, right? That's why there's a whole bunch of different opinions here, right? You weren't a classic guy, right?
Not particularly. No.
Okay, because I was, and there's a whole bunch of people in Koa that are like mop PvPers and just retail PvPers or retail PvEers or what have you.
Sure.
There's a bunch of different opinions. So people are like, okay, for me as a classic guy, okay, fight should last like 20 to 30 seconds. And retail players are like, okay, it should last until whoever has the minor amount of skill more, they become victorious. If that takes 20 minutes, if that takes 45 minutes, whatever. Because everyone has defensives, everyone can heal, what have you.
Yeah.
So there is, and then like there's like, I never played MOP, so I don't know how that works. But there's a whole bunch of different ways you could like look at the game. And I think that's what's contributing to a lot of this stuff being like too good while it's here, like for grounding, right? Grounding is like, okay, well, mobility's too good, so we need to do something about it. So we have something that completely ruins it. And then it's just like, over tuning in one direction. So you got to come back.
Yeah.
And that's why this alpha is necessary. We have to find that sweet spot
Yeah.
between what's right? Because we have a chance to make a really fucking cool game. I say we, as if
No. I don't know if you watched that video that I posted like a long fucking time ago. I think it was like phase 3, but yeah, no, it absolutely is like a we, 100%. Yeah,
That's true.
we make this game. Yeah, I mean, one guy actually codes it and has like the whole thing up in his head, but like this game is like a community game too, very much so. Which is like,
and what's good about it is that not everything gets put in, right? So you can have an opinion. And everyone can be behind you. Like I remember, were you around when they first took away weapon swapping in combat?
Yes. I was frustrated by that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I was like, are you kidding me? I came from Classic where players are swapping out Skull of Impending Doom with Furballed Medicine Pouch with a shield, and then going into a two-hander, and then switching out stuff in raids to like shield and taunt and la la la.
Yep.
And to take away that, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That just makes things more linear, reduces options for a player to, play the game. I didn't like it. And most people hated it, but we've learned to live with it. And I haven't seen any major ramifications from that. But
I think the reason I think it helped. I was really mad about it until he explained why he did it. When he was like, you know what, like we're doing this because, if you pick something, a lot of stuff is being designed around like what you pick to bring to the fight, and in terms of like your weapon or whatever it is, blah blah blah, and a lot of your identity is built around that. So if you can just like swap around in combat, like what the fuck is the point? And you lose a lot of that, like, well, this is really powerful because you can only use it while you have XYZ equipped. But if you could just equip XYZ in the middle of combat, like what the whatever.
Right, then what are we doing here, right?
Well,
Like,
then what are
it
we
makes
doing
no
here?
sense.
Right, exactly. And so I totally I get that, and I'm just happy that he explained his fucking thought process and like told us why. Like if it was Blizzard, we would have never heard it. It would have just gone through, and nobody would have said, like, that would have just been it. Like,
yeah, that is what's honestly I take for granted. Like I 100% do. Like there's literally, like, Liquid made this shit, right?
Yeah.
Like he made this on his own, I assume.
I think for the most part, yeah.
I'm
think,
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But like, he made this completely on his own, and I have made like 2 or 3 suggestions that have been put into the game. Like, that's crazy as shit. Like when you actually say that out loud,
Which is really cool. Like, I love it when a suggestion I make makes it into the game. Like, yeah, dude.
But like,
It's
if you
fucking
really
great.
think about that, you're like, holy shit, like I had an idea, like that is such good affirmation, right? Like
Yeah.
you're like, okay, my ideas are good, but like, you know, Blizzard's never gonna see it. And then all of a sudden, like a developer sees it and he goes, oh yeah, you just gotta tweak this number, and then your idea is right. What?
Yeah.
Like that is an ego moment for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shoot,
got
I had
another
some-
demonic rune. All right.
Oh, Pog? Pog? I'm out here catching, I'm out here copping some Essence of Fires, some Heart of Fires.
Ooh, where are you farming at?
I'm not telling you. Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
Okay, well, I'll watch the VOD and I'll know.
Okay,
So,
for sure.
Unless you just start screaming obscenities, so
No,
we can't use this footage. And it's like, oh, sorry, man. We gotta throw
No,
that
I'm
away.
in I'm in Ungoro. I'm farming the
I'm on my way.
I'm farming the
Starting
little
to
mountain thing. Yeah.
No, I
just doing
tried to
lots
farm
of
Essence of Fire because I'm like trying to like plan ahead for the next phase.
Yeah.
Because that's how I made like all my gold in phase 3. I
Mhm.
farmed a crap ton of Wildvine, and I just sold a
Oh, that
bunch
was
of that.
such a good idea. Yeah. That
Yeah.
shit was so Pog, and now it's just dead. And I think it's funny because like now I look at it and I'm like, oh, Pog, Wild, oh, not Wildvine, but Heart of the Wild. Holy shit! And then like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't need it at all. Like, fuck.
It feels so crazy, and that's like what's so cool to swing back around to like the Koa lore, that
Yeah.
it feels like an entirely different lifetime ago, and
Yeah,
it's
it
literally
does.
been like 3 months.
Yeah, it does. Like all of the
It
different
is just
eras, the phases have just been like complete different eras. It's wild, man. Yeah.
And even like the patches, like from week to week, right? Like, because currently we're in a patch where people actually play Soa, and like no one played Soa for the last like 2 months, and then they played it for a little bit while it was super broken, and then no one had played it before that either. So like, we're currently in a meta where Soa is played, and it's like, okay, you have a Soa on your team, you're like, all right, you're not going, oh god, I have some furry who thinks he's good. Like, it's actually like a respectable class that can, you know, really take over a game if you let it. And so that's what I think is really cool about Koa. It's just like the constant patches, right? Constant stuff being changed. The meta fixes, the meta switches just on bug fixes alone.
Oh
right?
my god, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Something just gets like, oh wait, that was tuned too high, and all of a sudden that entire spec is worthless, right?
Yeah. Or somebody was just mindlessly like trying something new out, and they just found something that worked really well, and they brought it in, and people are like, well, what the fuck is that? And
yeah,
you know,
that happens
that
way
stuff is
more
cool.
than it should.
That stuff
honestly,
is really cool. Yeah.
where someone like literally, I have, let's see how many days of Witch Doctor. I have 33 days of Witch Doctor played, and I still haven't. I've barely touched an entire spec, and someone could literally pick that up today, and then find out something busted with it, and then it could get nerfed tomorrow. Like,
Yeah. 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 I always thought that was kind of funny, as like people are coming into the class or whatever, and you know, just being I don't know what to say, the figurehead, but being a large
class lead,
but being the class lead, being a class lead, and then having somebody come behind you and like find something out that's like mega busted, and like, how did nobody know about that, bro? I only play one spec, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
People
Like,
do that to me all the time. So BDD, for those of you who don't know who he is, he's just, you know, one of the gamers, one of the guys we got here. Totally wholesome boy, despite the fact that he's, you know, a goose. But anyway, he picked up Shadowhunter, and he all of a sudden was just practicing on a dummy and got a 5k crit out of nowhere. And he asks me, and he goes, "Why have you been hiding this?" And I respond with, "I never knew that was there. Like, I don't do this stuff, dude. Like, that's just not my thing." Like,
yeah.
I think really be like, despite the fact that this game's been out for 7 months, you can really be the first one to find out some shit.
Seriously, I think that just speaks to I mean, I want to say it's
Oh, I think you kind of cut out there. Oh. But I think it does, just to fill the air before you come back, I think it does speak to the complexity of the classes, right? Because I'm pretty sure, remember that SOA bug where it was like, oh, the disease that ticked for 700 a tick for 5 minutes? That thing, which was obviously bugged, was probably in the game for like 4 months, but no one ever knew it because no one ever played Spell Power Worgen SOA. So,
Yes. Testing. Okay, great.
Yes, I can hear you
Dude,
now. There you
God.
are.
All right, I gotta fix that. All right. I'm gonna
All
get
right,
that
make sure to
fixed.
like and subscribe, boys.
I'm
And
gonna get that
then
fixed.
there's a Patreon going up.
Yep. Um. Yeah. No, it's just because people don't play like the random shit, which
Mhm.
I wish there was more. Okay, let me figure out where I was gonna go with this. I'm I'm bummed people don't experiment as much as they should.
Yes, but that is
Like,
just with players nowadays, right?
you think so?
I don't think that's something against Koa. I think that's just, you know, max culture. And again, you and I are both
Yeah.
omega tryhards, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, you guys need to experience the game. What about the RP and the lore? Fuck all of that, dude.
Well, slow
If
down,
I'm
man.
not playing this game to get paid, then I ain't playing it. You know what I mean? But like, there's something to be said for, you know, like, because we'll see people that we've never seen before. They'll log in, they'll go on the Discord, or they'll go in game, and they'll go, what's the best PvP class?
Right.
It's like, what? Like,
What's
just
the
play
most busted
fucking
right
game.
now? Yeah.
Right. Like, it's gonna change tomorrow, dude. And like,
Mhm.
if you're a good player, you'll be good regardless. So don't worry. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're playing. If you're good at the game, you'll still be good.
Yeah. I think people just want to play what's fodden, play what's good. Obviously.
Yeah, and that's
you want to
fair,
have fun
right?
stomping
Because-
on kids, but
Right.
Um,
And because killing people and doing big numbers is fun, which
Yeah.
is a reasonable answer, but it still just fucking sucks to see that people aren't, especially in an alpha, right? Aren't as
Yeah.
willing as you would think they should be to try out.
well, I mean, we could go full ranger tank here and say that, you know, you're unnecessarily hindered from testing things
Yeah.
for actually no reason. I've never heard anybody give a good reason as to why it should
So the thing that Haruk is alluding to, for those of you that don't know or are living under a rock, respects are a form of, or a hot form of conversation, contention. That's something. That's a
be.
word
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
It is a spicy debate on Koa, and it's usually very one-sided in terms of, this is an alpha, we should be able to respec almost indefinitely. I am of the opinion, I can understand the other side, where it's, if there's a cost associated with respecs, players will not respec at every given second. They will give more thought to each talent point they put in, and they will try to get the most out of it before respecing out of it, because they will just go to what's strongest if it's free. Everyone will just flock to what's strongest. Yes, there are good testers that will test out everything, and they will test interactions, and they'll do this and do that, but most people will not, because most people log on and ask what the best PvP class is, right? So I see some validity on that side, but yeah, there is a fair point to be made for people aren't testing as much, because it's very punishing for, if you have a bunch of alts, right? It's very punishing to try out all the things you want to try out. So
Right. I got a hard disagree with you, man. I don't think there's an argument on the other side. I think it's a cop out for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it's
tinfoil
metrics.
hat time. What did they gain from it, right? What did they gain from forcing a talent skull price tag? Now, granted, the fact that it stayed at 1,000, despite the fact that like people were like not a fan of it at 100, and then League 3 made it 1,000, and the community
Yeah.
was just hurt that no one's even mentioned it.
Yeah.
That everyone's just like, we're already being kicked in the teeth too much.
Yeah.
Like, we've just never gotten an answer on this, so we're just not even gonna stress it.
So what do you think
I don't know.
Ascension's reason for it is? And what incentive do they have to keep it that way? Because it only hurts them. If you want people to test your game, people are not going to test your game because you're making them grind to test your game. It's an alpha. There literally is not a single fucking reason why you should be gatekeeping people from testing your game.
Right,
It's almost
right.
like it's like a fucking
get
social
wrong.
experiment to see how much shit people are willing
Right.
to put up with. They're like, are you going to, hey, would you pay to play my broken game? You would?
Where's
Well,
my
okay, wait a
girlfriend's
minute.
credit card?
Wait a minute. So I understand there's a lot of things to test. You know, we got 21 classes, 63 specs, multitudes of subspecs. But look, wouldn't it be really cool if instead of testing things so we could push the game out quicker, you just farmed? Just farmed on an alpha. No. It's not. It's gonna be reset at the end, of course. No, I mean, of course, it's gonna be reset. But you should. But you should just farm anyway. Like, and on what fucking planet does that make sense, Goodmood? It doesn't. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I am saying that I understand that other line of thinking, but I don't. That doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't mean it's right.
People are gonna. Okay. By limiting it, even if that was your reasoning for it, I think people are still going to just play what's bottom. People are, I mean, you know, you're just gonna make people frustrated in the meantime. Like, all you do is make people frustrated for like literally no reason. Like this shouldn't even be a discussion. The fact that that's even a talking point on the show is like, is wild to me. It's wild to me.
And honestly, the second you make it free respecs, so many players will come back.
You think so?
I actually really genuinely that, because like there's so many players that just like, oh, I want to try out all this stuff and I want to try every single combination of Necromancer that I can think of, because there's billions of options for Necromancer, and then Primalist has 12 options. Lamau.
Oh fuck you, man! You don't have to say that shit.
Dude, literally, I made my Necromancer earlier, and I was like, oh shit, my suggestion's on cooldown, because I was about to be like, what the fuck is this? It's like Necromancer and Starcaller are just, they have an actual, just an Ascension book of 9 classes worth of abilities, and then everyone else is just like, I have the Arms Tree. Like,
right? Like, what the fuck? Like,
yep. It just hurts.
How is it that those are the only 2 that have so many fucking talents and abilities, dude?
Yep, I understand that stuff isn't done. Again, it's an alpha. Duh. We know that. You don't have to tell me that. I play this game every fucking day. But it's still painful.
It's very painful. No, it's very painful.
Until the new abilities came out, and I was all ready to bitch and be like, Witch Doctor's so forgotten, this, that, and the other. Chronomancer's duality spec had 11 abilities until 2 weeks ago.
It was a single line. A single line.
It was a single line for the first 5 rows?
Something like that. Yeah, it was crazy.
Which is absurd.
That's really bad.
That people would be just screaming and screeching about that shit, but people were just so like defeatist. Like, well,
I just think it's because nobody plays the damn class, man. It's just like Biko's the only madman, you know, and then RIP Earl the homie. I mean,
don't cheat, kids.
Yeah, don't cheat, kids. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. But again, I think that if you remove respec costs, I think a bunch of players will come back, and obviously, way more players will play way more often, right? Players like, you know, What Up Dog, right? Obviously, are just gods among men, but they can't test as much as they want to, because it's like it's so punishing. And he's putting in a bunch of work. He has every class up to 50. Every class has, you know, relatively decent gear, but how's you supposed to test stuff if I have to do 6 battlegrounds to do 1 reset, right? Because you get down to below 10 scrolls, and then you do the quest, and you get another 10, and whatever. But yeah,
I don't know.
Either.
Yeah, that's just no. I'm with you. I think. I mean, and like, you're barring people like What Up Dog from testing, like the people you want to have testing.
Right, like literally, if the server was like 100 What Up Dogs, the game would already be out.
The game would already be out. Yeah, I mean, like, he's like the only guy that I know that genuinely, actively goes out of his way to play the game to test, not to just play the game, but to like test. And which is like, why would you?
This shit.
Yeah, I'm just playing this shit. And if I find something, I report it. But like, I'm just playing the game,
right.
You know, which is fine. That's my prerogative. I paid for the game. It's, you know, whatever.
I think that's the best way to test. Is just to play the game normally, right? If you're gonna try hard, do that.
Yeah.
If you're gonna ERP, do that shit, and be like, oh, the animations don't work when I
do the animations on my Nelf bounce does not work. I need that shit to change.
On my hot spicy Nelf.
Oh my god. Yeah.
No, but it's
just you just like, I don't get why you would want to bar people like What Up Dog from testing, especially honestly, when he's like. Go ahead.
Well, I think what this all comes around to is we're just not given answers. Like, obviously, yes, we are not demanded, or we do not deserve answers necessarily. But there's a bunch of
why
stuff
not?
that we've already mentioned. I mean, yeah, we are paying customers, so therefore we deserve
Yeah,
something.
absolutely. No, 100%. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little bitch boy, so I'm like, I don't deserve it.
Dude, yeah. Well, I mean, I think, like, I think that's a common problem is that people are like, oh, well, you know, I don't want to be unreasonable, but, like, you're not being unreasonable. You paid a lot of money for this. Like, why?
Yeah.
You know?
But it's like, yeah, a lot of it's just like, we just want answers. We just want to know, hey, why can't we get lower respec costs? Hey, why is the price not coming down so COA cannot be accessed easier or by more people? There's just, and we were mentioning stuff before that I can't remember for the life of me, but like, yeah, it's just, you know, some good old clarity, some good old, hey, at everyone, we hate you. We're not really we're not lowering respec costs. Okay.
Like,
you know,
okay, at least we have like some sort of fucking conclusion on like, yes, it's not happening ever. Like, you just like, now we can move on. I think what Updog has been saying that too is just like, dude, just tell me it's not happening, okay? Like, at least just say it isn't happening so I can move on.
That was me with bracers for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I wanted Warsong Gulch Exalted bracers, and I was like,
oh, dude, I'm behind. I'm 100% behind your cause now. By the way, 100% behind your cause.
I knew you exactly would be. I knew you'd be like, bracers, and the second you hit.
And the second I'm exalted, I'm like, oh, where are my bracers at?
Where am I? Fucking, I earned this shit. That's why I never even stressed it. I'm like, hey, over time, more people will join my cause. I know it. Don't worry. But yeah, it's just like I never got an answer for like probably like a month and a half, and I was just so pissed because just fucking tell me it's not going to be. Just and then Dutch said, hey, it's Conquest of Azeroth, not Conquest of Warsong Gulch vendors. And I was like, all right, whatever. That's something.
What? Oh my god, what a shitty answer, dude. Fuck that.
I'm not a fan of the answer.
Bro, I'm so mad about that answer. That is a dog shit answer. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's right, Dutch. You hear that? Drop your address. What's up?
Do you guys not have phones? You think you do, but you don't. What a fucking out of touch answer, dude. Oh my god,
yeah,
tone deaf as fuck.
I wasn't crazy on it either. And honestly, now thinking about it, I don't know if we're gonna have PvP gear going into Phase 5.
What do you mean about that? What do you mean?
Where you can get like the blue gear. I was hoping we would. Like where you
well, I mean, whether or not you're able to get it is no concern to me. I already have it.
Oh, so do I.
Dude, bro, I immediately
I already have enchants.
You have them enchanted too?
I have 3 2 sets ready to go. So
Oh
I
my
will have
fucking God.
Brazil cap basically the second we hit 60.
Fucking
and I
God.
won't be able to wear it because then people will get it removed and I can only wear it during tournaments.
Yep.
And and just hide the transmog.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta cheat the system. But yeah, no, dude, I'm right there with you. I have a purple piece of the chest, the rank 13 chest. Oh,
I never got it.
I feel like such a hacker. I feel like such a
right?
hacker.
Yeah, I like walk around with my PvP gear mug, and I'm just like, yeah, all right, what up? Hey.
Dude, I look at my bank and I'm like, am I gonna get arrested? Like,
probably, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, it definitely feels rough, but yeah, I would assume it would get deleted, right?
Yeah, I would hope so,
honestly.
honestly. I would hope so.
Right?
Mostly just because like I don't like. Then there's nothing for people to work for. Like not only that, it's just like I don't what's the point of playing the game when you just have everything handed to you, right?
Yeah. And that's
like,
what's
I mean,
point
yeah,
of
it's like
MMOs, right?
it's like cool, tee hee ha ha. Ooh, look at me, I've got all my stuff. Ooh, and I'm not supposed to have it. Ooh, it's so much fun, which is fun. You know, I think that is actually
so
fun.
cute.
But at the end of the day, like when it's actually relevant, I don't want to already have all that shit, man. It's just gonna be boring. It's just gonna be boring.
Give me my goddamn bracers, right? I'll take that shit.
Seriously, yeah. Yeah. Dude, what else did we want to talk about? We got a lot of like really good shit going.
Right?
You want to talk about specific classes? What do you think?
Oh.
What do you think has really been like deserving? Hello.
No,
Test,
you're
test.
good. You're good.
Okay. What do you think is next in line for a rework? What do you think needs it the most?
Actually, let me log out and look at the list.
It could be spec or it could be class entirely.
I know animation necro feels a bit suspect at the moment because like whenever you see it in a battleground, at least it's literally just like your standard like Soul Link Warlock, It's like, I'm tanky as shit. I will outlast you. I will sustain a bunch, and I will not die, and you will die first. It doesn't feel like that standard, like, oh my god, I am this, skeleton summoning monster.
Yeah.
And blah, 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 blah. It doesn't feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have too many characters, so I can't fucking look at the list. But off the top of my head, I know Animation Necro is one that definitely needs love, which hurts to say, because we were saying before how they have way too many spells. Give some for the rest of them. Holy shit.
Yeah, as soon as you said anything Necro, like my fucking asshole puckered. I was like, come on, man. Like, those guys are always in the changelog, man. God damn. Yeah. I don't know. For once in my life, I just want to see a fucking Primalist changelog, please. Like, well, dude, he'd been saying for like a while that like Primalist is gonna get a bunch of changes. He's gonna implement, the pet stuff, and it's been like over. It might have been a month. I don't know. It's been a while. But
man needs to get home ASAP.
I know, man. Yeah, I know.
Well, let's look at things. All right. So animation. I hope there's some cool stuff with the dragon pyro.
Oh man, that needs to be cool. Yeah, that needs to be really fucking sick.
That should be really cool. I think Cult is very good at being, it plays differently in each way or each spec. Star Color more the same. Sun Cleric, pretty sure plays the same versus all of its classes. I don't think it plays. I don't know what its 3 specs are, honestly.
I mean, I know that they have like, obviously the healing spec, they have the tanking spec, and then they have like
it's tank, that's right.
a melee DPS spec, and also a caster DPS spec?
Like prod retribution, holy shit.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay, that's true. I forgot about tank. I was thinking that they had 2 heals and a ret. I remember some Tinker players were talking about Invention being playing too similar to firearms.
Interesting.
So I think there's something there. Rune Master, that shit's too complicated. I don't know, but I haven't heard Doom bitch about it. So
we'll have to bring Doom on so he can talk about it.
Right. I mean, if Doom hates it, then we'll find that out when he starts yelling at us.
Yep.
Primalist just needs way more tools. At least from my perspective, like life needs, there's a very cool idea thematically of a melee healer that hits people to get rage and then heals people. That's a very cool, unique idea, but it's not doable at the moment because it just doesn't have enough tools.
I think it just honestly doesn't have any throughput. That's really what it is. Yeah. A lot of it is throughput, but also there's a lot of quality of life things that have not been addressed for the play style. You know what I mean? We don't have any CC duration reduction. So while we're standing in melee, we just get kicked 100% of the time.
Hard casting in melee is just disgusting.
Yeah, and I'm talking about not even just PvP, but PvE. That I fucking had no idea how many kicks and stuns were just in the game in PvE.
Stuff just shield slams. And you're I'm locked.
Yeah, what? And I'm just perma-locked for and I'm what am I supposed to be fucking doing here, man? So there's stuff like that makes it really hard to play. Just being in melee in general, we're just not given enough to have that play style be worthwhile. And then the numbers aren't even good. So you're just why am I even working so hard when I can just press Voodoo Serpent Beam?
Right, exactly. I can press this and then eat a snack for 8 seconds, and you're just oh my god, I'm really trying to piano this shit. Do a third of the healing.
Yep.
Obviously, it shouldn't be each button press should make you that much better. Obviously, different classes, a class like a Witch Doctor should be just better at healing than a Primalist, but a Primalist should provide something that a Witch Doctor can't.
Well, what's the reason for that? Why, in what way? Why? Why does Witch Doctor have to be a better healer than Primalist?
Fuck you.
Okay, I mean, sure, but
when you put it that way, because when you think of a Witch Doctor, you think of a supporty class, and when I think of a Primalist, huh?
No, I was agreeing with you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you said shut the fuck up, and I was
no, I said I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so.
I was I see Witch Doctor as a support. Kill yourself. Okay.
Sorry. I mean, good talking to you, I guess.
I haven't
blocked?
Gotten a Primalist yet. Right. Blocked. but I see Primalist as like a slightly more selfish support, if that makes sense. I don't see them as like a group support. I see them as like a either I buff myself or I buff me and mines, and then we go forward, rather than like the standard support of like a healing ward or some shit like that, right? Because that's like witch doctor shit. Primalist, I mean, obviously thematically is a bit like Enhancement Shaman. I mean, that's the closest thing you can compare it to. But it is definitely different because Enhancement Shaman is just all about auto attacks, and Primalist has way more shit to do.
I think it's like a good mix of like arms warrior and shaman. Yeah, it feels like a mix of like.
Yeah, Arms Warrior is good because it actually has damage as opposed to Enhanced just being like Wind Fury, Lamau.
Right. Yeah. Primalist. See,
But I mean, like, if
this
you
goes
have,
back
like-
to like this goes back to like some of the things that you're like just talking about is like it doesn't have the right tools. I think the class just overall is very very clunky, very very clunky. There's like so many rough edges that make it feel like really kind of just man. If they had just been clean, if he can figure out these rough edges, like the class would be just like so fucking good. I love the class. Like obviously that's no secret.
Like what edges are rough, right? Like as an example.
There are things like boons are on the GCD, and they only affect one person, and they're 20 rage. So you see people being selfish. I'm selfish with my buffs. Like I try not to be. Like I set up a whole system to not be selfish with my buffs because like I don't like
be selfish.
Right. Yeah. Because like I benefit from my teammates being better as well, right? Like that's and I think that's cool. I like being the utility. I like being the support, which is fine. But like there's no incentive for me to do it because it's like so clunky and it's just so meh. It's just meh. Like I think a lot of the healing is weird. Like I think a lot of it should just be smart healing. I don't think it should be brain dead. Like I'm just doing DPS and I happen to also be healing, but I think
like some Ascension classless shit.
Yeah,
like,
where you're literally doing
I healed
damage, but you're healing because you're doing damage, which is
fuck that.
which is fine. But I think you should have like a renewing mist. You have to like put it on people, remember that it's up, and then only people you have your renewing mist on can get benefit from your stuff. Like I've even suggested that as being like a mechanic. I was like, just make it so that like when you heal somebody like in melee, like it puts a buff on them, and
Oh shit, Liquid's online. All right, suggestion, go.
Yeah, suggestion time.
At everyone, you will be removed. Gray, if you're watching this, why do you hate me? All right, you put at everyone in the Discord, and then you got mad at me when I used it. That is toxic. But
Yep.
yeah, no, I do agree that Primalist. I mean, mine's only level 30, so I'm not gonna sit here and say that I have the same amount of time put into it. I'm gonna guess 16 hours. Let's see how many I have. Ooh, a day and a half. All right.
Wow, hey.
Wow, we out here.
You got more time than most Primalist players in the channel, huh?
Most people making suggestions.
Most people making suggestions in the Primalist channel don't even have.
No, I played Spell Power for a while, and where it was just Stonefall or Stone Slam with the Fist of Rag into Stone Slam, and that was my entire combo, and it would do like 1,000 damage for those useless, and I would die immediately. But it was stupid fun, and it was like, oh, Ruptured Earth proc,
Yeah.
But I know stuff like that is fun, but I think there is definitely some validity in it just feels kind of clunky, and like when you look at the tree, right? You look at Primal, and it literally looks like stuff pre-update. Right?
Yeah.
Like it feels like that one was missed, and I'm pretty sure you got new spelled, right, with the new talents when that came out a few weeks ago. And
recently? No, that didn't happen. No, no. So he split up Dream. He split up Dream into 2 spells, which was good. That was a good move.
Was it the Heavy Blades change?
The heavy Blades change happened for the worse. Which is good though, honestly, because I think it was going to be problematic eventually with like armor stacking. It was going to be like way too much. Like I would put a stone shield potion on, and I had an extra 400 attack power for 2 minutes because I had a stone shield potion on,
Jesus.
which was insane, man. Yeah, it was
That's
really.
not okay.
It was, yeah, dude. It was.
Yo,
pretty,
fuck your class. Stay clunky. What the
It was
fuck?
pretty spicy, but I just think a lot of it is just like he hasn't gotten around to it. I think it's just there's so much work to be done that a lot of classes just feel very unfinished because they are. I mean, I don't know, and I think Primalist is one of those classes that, for whatever reason, maybe it's just like low on his Trello board, or I don't know, whatever the fuck the case may be, just hasn't seen a lot of attention, and it just feels dated. It's just like a class that just feels dated. Like when you look at some of the newer reworks, just it just, I don't know, man. It just feels very,
I definitely
very
get
different.
that. At level 50, it feels like it has the kit of a level 30.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't have
Which is just weird.
that
like,
many tools and very, very many unique
No.
tools. Or it's like, what?
Oh,
can a
we had
Primalist
all
do?
of them. We had all of them, but then they got removed, and he just never put them back in. And then people sided with him, saying that it was right. Primalist had way too much shit. And I was like, you don't know what you're fucking talking about, man.
Well,
We didn't know.
I think they had too much shit, but it was okay that they had too much shit because they didn't have much of anything else.
Because we don't have
So
any
if you-
damage, and that's what I was talking
you
about
had
earlier.
Kagan, Entangle Weapon, you had Kick, or Pummel rather,
Mhm.
and you had all this stuff, and you could really, if you were heads up, you could really just take over a fight. But
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
now it's like Entangle Weapon is, what, is it
Oh.
at the top of G? It's the second to last.
Yeah,
Oh, there it
it's up there and something,
It's tier 5 of Geomancy.
which
Right,
is like
which is
mad sad.
nuts. That shit was free,
Yeah.
and now it's. Oh, I don't know. It just,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, and then you've
one-
got stuff like where you have to spec into taunt, and like why do
Yeah.
I not have that baseline? Why do I have to spec into taunt? It's just very, very frustrating, most times.
But to be fair, I remember last time you and I had a conversation. You're like, "Oh my god, Primal, terrible. This is the worst thing ever." Literally the next day, he did like a whole bunch of shit, and got a whole bunch of shit changed. So,
Yeah, I mean that did happen. Yeah, that did happen.
copium,
That did happen.
copium.
But it's
Maybe-
been like
maybe-
this for a very long time.
Well, then
very
make
long
another
time.
post, bitch. Start typing.
Dude, I do, man. I do. I've posted my manifesto, a number of times, twice actually. I've posted my manifesto twice, based on the feedback that I've gotten from him, and so he responds to some of it. He gets like the major points, I think, as and which is nice because it signals to me that he at least values some of my opinion enough to like read it and respond to most of it.
Right.
But fuck, where was I going with that?
It was
Oh, I lost it.
shit. Fuck. Stuff can be changed. It's been clunky for a long time. These issues have been here for a while.
Oh, yeah. Those are the kind of these issues have kind of been here for a while. So I mean, I don't know. And the reason that like it got removed because it was like quote overloaded, but then there's so many other classes that are definitely overloaded, like definitely overloaded, and should have like either seen more pruning or I don't know. I just felt like some classes, like when they got pruned, felt unfairly so. Like it just didn't feel. I don't know. And then never getting anything back for that was like really shitty. But because like we didn't have much going on for us, and I don't want to make this like a whole like Primalist like cry discussion, but
Like and subscribe.
but like I don't know. It's just like we were talking about earlier with like strengths and weaknesses, and like you can't have everything and then not have any weaknesses. And
Right.
I like so Primalist weakness was like our strength was our utility, our strength was our healing, and then people cried about it because they don't know what they're talking about, and they had it changed, which is like I don't know. That's like the one thing that I don't like care for with the hive mind of Koa, is that like if somebody says it's busted and it's reasonably strong enough, people will cry about it forever until it gets changed. And I mean,
I think that's just how players are just always going to be, right?
Mhm.
Players are always going to say, well, my stuff is fine, but your stuff is too much.
so
And so that's the only reason I lost. Your stuff is too good.
do you think, and maybe it's a little entitled, maybe it's a little ego-y, but do you think there's any merit to people, or do you think there's any merit to not listening to everything that everybody has to say? Like, not everybody's opinion
No, I would
matters?
say you need to hear everyone's opinion just so, again, not to sound ego-y, so you can remember what dumbass ideas look like, right? So, like,
Sure.
if you're listening to a bunch of ideas from really, like, high-level PvPers or people with 20 days played on multiple classes, blah, 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 super engaging players, and then you hear some fucking RPer come out of nowhere and talk about, well, what if someone could turn into Volpira? And you're like, shut the fuck up. Right? It's good to be able to see stuff like that, or like, what if Soas could like, I don't know, did you ever play HOTS?
I did.
All right, so it's like, what if it was like Greymane's ult, and like they could jump on someone, and then it reset, and then you could like jump on more people. And it was like, what? No, that would be terrible, and that would be super jank in PvE because you would AOE farm, and your screen would be shaking 24/7. Like, yeah, what would be cool? Just code it, and like. You
Dude,
need to be
no.
able to see
Like,
those ideas. Did I just make a good fuck? Like,
Yeah.
no.
yeah.
Killing spree, fuckers.
Yeah, right.
But like you need to be able to look at an idea and go, okay, that's wrong, right?
Sure.
Or like that's bad for the game. But if you only ever get ideas from people that supposedly have good ideas, then you
Yeah.
won't look at them with the same eye. You know what I mean?
I feel that. I just think that there are sometimes people don't have the whole picture and will advocate as if they do. And I think that some things get changed that don't need to be changed. I'm trying to come up with a specific example.
Because I get that. I know people in champs. Again, my guild. For those of you that don't know, a lot of them have said that it gets super frustrating to be on Koa, especially if you consider yourself a good player, because you're like, I feel like I have to be constantly defending my class 24/7.
Yes. That's literally me in the Primalist channel. Like, anybody, like, if you go to the Discord and you search anything to do with Primalist, if there's somebody out there talking slander, bro, I am out there fucking pitchforks and
trenches,
torches,
baby.
man. Nah, dude, I am in the trenches fighting for this shit, man. And people saying the dumbest fucking things and other people backing them up, and I'm just like, dude, that is just like not even close to reality, dude. That's just
and you're
not
like,
how that
I'll
plays
get my
out.
class nerfed if it's too good. Just
Yeah,
please
I
do
will
not
say
sit there.
something. Please trust me that I will say something if it's too much. But like, you guys are just salty that I'm better than you. Like,
Right,
they're
it's
like,
normal. I'm better than you. Just deal with it. I'll be here forever.
okay,
You'll never be better
or
than
just
me.
like I've played the class longer than you. You know, like it's
True.
It's just like an experience thing, I guess. I don't know. I like to think that I'm a pretty decent player, and I like to think that I'm probably the best, if not one of the best primalists on the server.
Oh no, you're definitely the best. Definitely.
I mean,
Especially at two-handed.
I mean, there's a lot of people who pull up on some stuff and like make me question myself. Like every time.
No,
What do you mean? What?
no, I was gonna say Wisp is good, but he doesn't play two-handed, so I would say you're the best two-handed.
Well, yeah. And then there's people, and then there's people like Clumsy and stuff like that who just like rock up and everything that he touches is just fucking gold.
Yeah, Clumsy. But like,
Clumsy is just
it
nice
does
as fuck,
feel,
though, yeah.
it does feel really like bad, like having to like defend your class, and
Yeah.
I'm having to deal with that for the first time in forever. Witch Doctor sucked for
Yeah.
God knows how long, and now all of a sudden it has an ability that can do 2,000 damage with about 4 seconds to set up at 30-yard range, and it's like, okay, that's too strong. And
Yeah.
then people are like nerfing into the ground, and I'm like, fucking shit, no, just
Hey, calm down, calm.
right. I was
down,
gonna say,
dude.
hey, I know it's bad. I tried to get it nerfed the first day. All right, you can check it. There's evidence of that in the Discord. Please do not hit me. But yeah, it does feel a little bit scary. Hopefully, Liquid is a lot more open to shit during Phase 5 of doing like the fine-tuning shit and saying, hey, let's move an ability, make it do 50 more damage, right? I'm not saying change the scaling by 2.0,
Right.
Just 50 more damage, 50 more base, or lose 10 more mana, or shit like that.
Yeah.
I think a bunch of those changes could really fine tune this game, make it honestly more perfect. I mean, perfect. It's not more perfect, but
Yeah. No, but I get what you mean, though. I get what you mean.
hopefully we can do some more shit.
Yeah.
I'm literally just out here just killing molted boars on my primalist. Like, what am I? I'm just cleaning house, dude.
Dude, good, man. Good. You need some.
I'm
People
out
need
here.
hours on
Fuck these
Primalist, bro.
pigs. Fuck them. Fuck these
People
pigs,
need
bitch.
hours.
Mountain might. Oh.
The class is so good, dude. Man, I just want to see it shine, man. I just want to see it shine. There's just like some classes that
I mean, it will over time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right, with the amount of dumbass suggestions that people make, and the amount of good suggestions that players that actually play it make, more good stuff will be added than bad. And it will eventually, right? It may not feel like it tomorrow because some dumbass says, I like to throw rocks and I want to be, or like, I think What Up Dog was talking about, like a melee, like caster tank with stones.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you feel about it, but I was like, I'm not crazy on that. But like, yeah, like that, maybe that.
I don't know. It just seems like it's stretching too much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's ways to do it and make it cool, but honestly, like, I would much rather just have the caster, like what, like, just drop the tank shit. Like, it doesn't, you've been working on this shit for so long, and like we've done a number of iterations, and none of them good. None of the primalists have ever gotten on board with the body.
And also, you really have like
just
six
like
specs,
yeah,
with 3 trees, which is a problem in and of itself.
You think so?
Oh, I think your mic cut out again.
Hello again. What the fuck? How?
No.
Okay, go. maybe I peaked or something. Yeah. Do you think so? Why do you think that's a bad thing?
Well, because it's like, if you have way.
Because then it's like,
if you have plenty of talent choices, then it's not a bad thing, right? I guess, because then it's more diversity, and you can be like, oh, I want to take, some of the tankier talents from the tank thing, but I also want better boons and life, but then I also want to round it out with some heavy 2-handed damage and primal. Then that's obviously nothing but good ideas. But I guess I'm just thinking of it with the closed-mindedness of knowing how many abilities we have. Right now.
Yeah.
And just saying, like, it's hard to diversify as much as you want it to without feeling like, because if you try to make like a primal tank right now, right, it feels like you probably just have to go straight down life. You have to get turtle, and I don't actually. Do you even go turtle? Do you go?
You don't. Right? I mean, you don't go into life at all.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, you don't go turtle for that. No, you stick mainly in the geo tree. If you pick up anything, you're picking up like kick from primal. I mean, that's about it. It's just like there's a lot of like things that scale with like spirit, but like our gear's not gonna have a ton of spirit on it, so it doesn't like really make a lot of sense because it doesn't scale very well, or like so you're like, okay, should I be stacking spirit, and then should I be main spec spirit? Like, holy shit! And it's just like very confusing. Like, it's just like there's not like a lot of, I don't know, it's not coherent. Like, none of the specs feel very coherent. Like, it feels like they're missing a lot of personal identity. Like, it's just like, I said this in one of my last write-ups, is like, it's very apparent that you don't know, and not in a rude way, it's very apparent that you don't know what you want to do with these. And right. I think you need some outside help, my man. I think you need some opinions. But yeah, going back, there was something that I wanted to say about having 6 specs in 3 trees. I think that's really cool. I think it's super, super cool, and I think that should be there if it's not too difficult to support. Because at some point, you end up having like I mean, you know, we've already got 63 official specs.
Right.
But then between that, you know, there are sub specs and, you know, different builds in that. And then, like, you know, you open up, like, well, Geo could either go tank or it could go caster, you know, that kind of thing. Or it could be dual wield or melee or two-hander if you do it the other way. Just, like, at what point, like, do you stop? At what point do you stop? Like, should they all
Right. It's like, why
just
should every class be able to do
a
every
single spec?
role?
Should they all just be a single spec? Should they all, like, should there not be any sort of, like, hybridization in the trees? Like where, you know, I mean, because at what point is it too much to support? And then, yeah, also, like, does every class need to be able to do everything? Like,
Yeah. Like,
you know,
Witch
I think
Doctor can make, like, a tanking dinosaur, and it's like, that makes no fucking sense.
there's a tank dinosaur build?
Yeah,
That's
you make a...
fucking wild.
Well, what's weird is you have nothing that has anything to do with tanking, and then at the end you have a tanking dinosaur. Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
There's no, like, taunts on the way up. There's no... I guess
Yeah.
you could technically, like, put buffs on your dinosaur, and you get buffs on the way up. But it just seems like... just weird.
Yeah, it just seems
Like,
very out of
almost
place.
forced.
Like, and, you know, it's possible that it's just like, this is a placeholder idea. This is a thing that I want to do. I just haven't fully fleshed it out yet.
True.
Which
That is
I
very
think is probably like all over the place. Like there's even that there's even that in Primal. You know, he's got the Spirit Beast thing like half implemented.
Well, and also in Witch Doctor, in the Shadow Hunting tree, there are 3 abilities called Shadow Claws. 3.
Oh,
3 different abilities, all named the same thing. So,
wait, what the fuck? Why?
yeah.
What?
Well, actually, I take that back. It's 2 in the Shadow Hunting tree and 1 in the Voodoo tree. But there's literally 3 Shadow Claws.
But still,
It's
3
like-
Shadow Claws, lol. Like,
right.
so I was thinking about, so I was playing around with Shadow Claws. Which one?
So, right. All right. Oh, wait, no, the one in Shadow Hunting. All right, which one?
Okay, which one with that?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, right.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that's just, obviously it's not fleshed out. And that's
But the tanking
what, like,
dino stuff is like weird. Like that's just out of left field, you know?
well, because it's like a temporary summon too. It's not like it's a permanent pet. It's like, oh, I summon this for... I've never looked too much into it because I'm not really interested in the dino stuff, to be honest. But I think it's like 2 minutes.
Huh.
But like, what, you're just gonna summon a dinosaur for 1 encounter? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hopefully, maybe it's just a thematic thing and it's not something that's actually ran with. Anytime I see anyone try to talk about, can Witch Doctor tank, I just immediately just start being mean to them so they quit.
Yeah.
Because I do not want to have that anywhere in my vicinity. But maybe it's just there for, like, as we said, like, for flavor, and it's not something that's thought of seriously. Just
Yeah, maybe it's like an off tank ability or something. Like you pop the dino so it can tank some ads and then I don't know,
yeah,
whatever.
like you do it if you want to, like, solo a rare that's particularly hard or some shit.
Sure. Yeah. I think there's totally. I don't think there's anything wrong with having stuff like disarm trap in your trees. In fact, I think that's really cool. But I think what they need to do is they need to take a page out of League 3's book, and they need to make them all of the talents all available, but you need to give them different qualities and you need to give them different costs. You know, the same. I shouldn't be spending 3 fucking ability essence on disarm trap when I can pick up, you know, a DPS cooldown instead or something like that. You know what I mean? Like like they're obviously
exactly.
not weighted the same. And I think that's like you could add more stuff like that. You really could. And like in fact I very much encourage you adding more flavor stuff like that. Just like don't make it cost 3 ability essence, dude. Like
Yeah,
there's
I
a
think
reason why it's
other than the rarity thing, because I think the rarity thing is not as obvious as it is in normal WoW, because normal WoW, we know, blinks very fucking good.
Okay,
We know
well, yeah,
that Hand
that's
of Freedom
fair,
is
yeah.
very good. So you can't as easily say, oh, well, Cave-In's not legendary, but you're like, it's a 40-yard kick and a stun. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, shit, that's actually crack.
Yeah.
But like, I think there's definitely, I think the conversation of stuff shouldn't all be 3, because as of right now, when we hit 60, we still have 1 left. So it's like, you know, that shouldn't even be there.
Yeah,
right? Like,
I can imagine them being changed though. I can see
yeah,
that.
I feel like that's going to happen, right? There's no way that everything costs 3 forever, and that we're just supposed to believe that, let's look at examples here, that mending growth is even remotely on the same power level as animal friendship, right? Like something
Yeah,
that completely allows an entire spec to heal and do its thing versus I named my bear, right?
yeah,
Like one of those should be one, and one of those should be two or three.
right.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
sorry, animal friendship. I just,
No, animal friendships. Yeah, I want it to be really cool. I mean, it's going to be really cool. I think when it's really like fully implemented.
and
But for
also
the time,
friendship versus bash, just right there. Ugh,
yeah.
those are not equal.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, like you can't even. Yeah, it's not, especially beforehand. Especially beforehand when it was like a 5 minute cooldown with a 45-second duration on any random whatever beast. What?
Right? Yeah.
In what
Yeah.
fucking way does that have anything to do with what?
Yeah.
Like, where
And
did that come from?
I remember Liquid's answer for that is like, well, we'll just empower or we'll just buff stuff so that way everything is like a 3 power level. But like some stuff innately will just always be better, right? Like a
Yes.
kick, a
Yes.
pummel will always be better, no matter how fucking cute you make that bear, right? That
Mhm.
bear's gonna have to be fucking on drugs if that's gonna be on the level of a kick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that bear has to be insane,
Yeah.
and that's just a can of worms that like just doesn't need to be opened when you could just make it cost 2, and you're like, okay, well for 2, then that means I can get more boon stuff that I want to get, and then I can
Yeah.
buff my bear and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And then you
All
can like
that is-
incentivize different play styles by having, things cost less,
Yep.
like if you need more things to, I don't know, support it. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the talent trees right now? What do you think about like how they're currently set up, how they're the future of it? Because I know a lot of people have been kind of clamoring for a rework, especially like the mop crowd. Doom in particular
So
has been super vocal about it. What do you think?
actually, I was thinking about that a bunch earlier because when I was playing a Necro, I was like, okay, I'll just level this Necro while we talk and stuff. And then I was like, I hit level 10, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go into Rhyme. And then I was like, wait, shit, I can't do that till 30. That shit definitely needs to happen at 10. Like, you need to start being able to, create your character, right? Like, because that's like what the whole point of this is. It's like, I want to create this character. Like, imagine on classless if you couldn't pick abilities till 30. Like, what? Like, every single Primalist is the same, 1 to 29. Every single Necromancer is the same. They build the exact same. And that gets changed once you hit 30. Then you can start slowly making yourself a little bit different, but then you're only like messing really with 30 levels, and it's just, I'm not crazy on it. I think it definitely needs to be mop specs, which is like you pick a thing at 10, and then for the next like 20 levels you have a predetermined amount of abilities that you will get, or like you will get, if you're a mage and at 10 you pick fire, then you're getting fireball, you'll get power blast at this level, you'll get fire blast at that level, and then at 30 then you can decide extra shit like talents and whatever. But at least I think that's, by the way,
Um,
oh, there you are.
not having I just not being able to pick talents until you're 30 is fucking awful, man. It feels
Oh, I
so
know.
bad. It
It
feels
definitely-
so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's like we were
literally,
talking about
I
earlier.
wanted
You
to
spent
play
all
it.
this time leveling just to find out that actually I don't really like the class. Like, what? I could
Right.
have found
Yeah,
that
like,
out
if you're
so
playing
much
Resolute-
earlier. Like, why the fuck?
If you're playing Resolute, you're literally playing for, if you're just like a normal, IT developer, single dad who's just playing for, a few hours every week, right? It's going to take you probably a month to hit level 30 because you're playing at your own pace. And then you're like, oh yeah, Rhyme sucks. Like, that's just thrown away.